Jeff Kollman, how's it going with you?
Good. Everything's good.
You got a new product that you're playing with Chad Smith's Bombastic Meatbats, the new album,
Yeah.
double album.
Double live album.
What's the idea behind making it double disc?
Well, we're quite lengthy with our tunes, for one. And, we wanted to capture the whole show that we play live. And we have a lot of material, so... The thing is that we stretch quite a bit on tunes, live, and we have the arrangements and the melodies and this sort of thing, but there's room for the tunes to head places, so it's not like, painting inside the lines or music by numbers like a lot of rock and heavy metal acts that they play the song like it is on the record. There's a lot of room for it to, take different shapes and whatnot. So, hence you end up with 7 to 12-minute songs.
Good friendly radio songs.
Right, exactly.
So basically you guys are doing very well on this album?
Yeah, you know what, we just released it like 2 months ago, so yeah, it's doing good so far. We're getting good reviews and people seem to like it. And I think we captured the essence of the sound of the band live,
Now, for your guitar gear and stuff, what do you use live? Like, is it the same stuff you use in Asia?
I think on that record I used a 65 Twin with 412 Marshall cabinet and then pedals. I remember Richie Kotzen came to one of the gigs and he just couldn't believe how I was getting that sound out of a Twin, because a Twin reverb Fender is, the stereotype of that is like country music. It's a clean amp that doesn't distort. But with the right pedals in front of it, I can dial in pretty much, the whole gamut.
And this amp is like the real thing, the 1965, the actual one?
Yeah, I've got the original 65.
And what type of guitar are you playing, like, on this live album itself?
I'm playing Strats. I have a custom shop Wildwood Fender Strat. I've got a couple Tellys, 52 reissue Telly, and I think there's a Les Paul Gold Top for 1 or 2 songs. It kind of just depends on the tune.
Would you say amps like today, like a new type of Fender twin reverb amp, would match at all what the 65 can do?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think part of the difference, the old worn-in speakers have a certain sound to them. And, people boast about the blackface circuit versus the new. I have a reissue Twin that it's barely a difference, I think some of the other models are more noticeable, like a Bassman, original 59 410 Bassman, versus the reissue is like a Ferrari and a Hyundai.
Mm-hmm.
The difference is staggering. But on the Twins, it seems like it's not so varying.
And besides all this, what else have you been doing these days, in music?
I have a new solo record called Silence in the Corridor. I just released at the same time as the Meatbats. And it's my first solo instrumental record in maybe 10 years. So usually the instrumental stuff that I do falls under the name of Cosmo Squad, my trio band. So, yeah, a new disc, and I'm promoting that as well, and going out and doing some shows and, that sort of thing. Been doing some film and TV stuff. I also have a new band called Pervidelic, which is a vocal group, and I sing. More of an alternative rock band. So just juggling all those things, and then I started working with Asia recently. And a few summer shows with the Meatbats, some shows here and there with Marco Mendoza, all kinds of random stuff.
You must be keeping really busy then with your schedule. How do you manage all this stuff?
You just, like anything else, you just schedule it in, and that's a good question. I mean, I don't feel like I'm like the busiest guitar player around or anything. I try to not schedule things too dense, so you're not doing a proper job on any of it. sometimes if new stuff comes in, I'll turn it down because I've got enough on my plate, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So if all those bands were touring at the same time, obviously I can't be in two places at once. So then I would have to be more, specific. Like right now, Chad's doing the Chili Peppers and nothing else, pretty much, except for when he's off, he does the Meatbats. But he had to drop Chicken Foot, for instance. Can only do so many things at once. I love the variety. I love the stylistic variety of it.
And with all this different level of genres of music, you should be learning lots more, in your playing as well, because everybody learns when you're playing basically all the time.
Absolutely, and with different players. I think the biggest problem with guitar players, and I can hear it in their playing, you can tell the guitar players that really get out there and jam with people, and the guitar players that kind of stay in their bedroom and shred and punch in and build their songs in Pro Tools and farm their tracks out to drummers and bass players. I hear it in their playing. They don't sound worldly. Between like a Jimmy, there's a big difference between listening to like a Jimmy Herring kind of player and the shrapnel guy that sits in his bedroom and sends the tracks over to the next guy. It just the tone, the feel,
Mm-hmm.
the interplay with the other musicians. And these are the most important things.
And Jeff, where do you think music's going to go in 10 years from now? As a guitar player.
Hey, well, let's get through 2012. Oh, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It just keeps getting worse.
For guitar players in general and stuff like that, what are they learning nowadays?
People always. I think that there's this thing where they always feel like they've got to create new techniques and stuff, and I'm not. I'm more about a bigger picture about great songs and songwriting. So I don't spend my afternoons like worrying about trying to tap 3 or 4 fingers on the fretboard because so and so does it or this person or that's such a limited scope of thinking, So where does it go with guitar in 10 years from now? I don't know. Hopefully better songs. That's the important thing.
Life on the road for you, how's it doing nowadays? When you go on the road, is it much looser? Because now you got Facebook and all that stuff. You can contact people. Let's say, I don't know.
Yeah, you know what? You can do some last minute promotions via Facebook. I had a show in Ohio. I had to switch to the last minute because of the venue, and we got the word out with 3 days' notice and packed the place. So that sort of stuff is cool. I think that's one of the advantages of Facebook, and the interesting thing about music is on the grassroots level, an artist can get their music out to all parts of the world where 10, 15 years ago that wasn't an option unless you had a major label.
Mm-hmm.
And even then it wasn't as far-reaching. People in China and Russia, they weren't hearing most music. So I think it's an exciting time to be an independent artist.
And Jeff, where are you guys with Asia going to be going this summer?
Just some one-off dates in the U.S., random a couple of East Coast things. I think there's a few West Coast dates. There's a couple that there's one that I can't make that I already have something booked. So, yeah, it's just U.S. shows right now. I think I'm going to do a week of solo gigs in Tahiti the first week of September. So that'll be fun. Get a little international stuff going on. And planning a Japan tour in October. Not Asia, but just my own thing.
Do you find when you go as yourself, solo act is a little bit different when you go on the stages and to promote the venues?
It depends on where it is. I did a Japan tour just before the earthquake in Sendai. I was there maybe a month before,
mm-hmm.
which was scary, after the fact. And I just used a pickup band in Japan, some musicians over there, and that was really cool to interact with their culture, and it turned out really great. We played some Meatbats stuff and my solo stuff, and obviously when we go out with the Meatbats, you have the built-in fan base with Chad being a member of the Chili Peppers.
Right.
So I think, as a solo artist, you have to dig a little deeper with promotion and really get the word out. And can't really sit back on your laurels. You really got to get out there and hustle.
Well, sounds like you got a lot of stuff on your plate for this year, and it seems great. Your product, live meat and potatoes. The sound quality is quite good on this double album.
Yeah, well, cool. I should send you the new solo record as well, the Silence in the Corridor. Yeah, I've got a tribute to Gary Moore on there and a few other things like that. He was a big influence on me, and when he passed away, it hit me hard, and stuff like that inspires songs.
Certainly a guitar player of that caliber.
Yeah. Just played with so much fire and emotion and energy, and kind of played every gig like it was his last. Stevie Ray Vaughan's another one that comes to mind that plays with such fire. That's what I look for.